Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. We are back this week with Jane Eyre after my hurricane hiatus, I guess. But I am back with Alex.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We got some juicy chapters. If we get through all three, we got some
Oh,
juicy chapters.
as I was telling Rachel, or as we were talking, there is a metric fuck ton of plot that just dropped on our heads, and
Oh yeah,
I'm so here for it. These couple chapters have some of my favorite moments in this entire fucking book. So,
it's, I'm just, I'm like, I can't stop like gripping my hands together. I'm so excited. like I know I need to wait to like read this for the podcast, okay? And like not get ahead. However, having to put my book away
mm,
in my backpack yesterday after getting through chapter 23 and then being like, okay, bye, book, later, and like stuff it in the bag, hardest thing I've ever had to do.
incredibly difficult, incredibly
Hmm.
difficult. I
Hmm.
imagine, I imagine there were emanations from that backpack, like, or you could read me. Just keep
Yeah.
reading me.
Hmm. I had to bring three other books with me because I knew that like if I didn't have another book,
Mm-hmm. You're gonna do it.
I would yeah,
You're
I
just gonna dive
no
back in.
choice.
Mm.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
understand. The plot is rolling. Shit is occurring. Happenings are happening.
Yeah, and
We gotta talk
I
about them.
so excited. We got to talk about them. So chapter 21
Chapter 21.
starts off with this absolute banger. Apparently, dreaming of children is a sure sign of trouble.
Yup.
Which, like, for me, most of the time, people say that they dream of children. That's how, like, you know you're pregnant, like that superstition. So this is kind of funny, which yeah, that's also a sure sign of trouble.
I mean, yeah,
Plan that.
pregnancy. Pregnancy's fucking dangerous, man. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, you dream of children. Okay, we've got 9 months of not feeling great and then possible death. So,
Hmm.
yeah, legit. And Charlotte Bronte, the Moors folklorist, is like, I heard an old crone tell me one time that dreaming of babies is trouble, so I'm gonna put it in my book. And now we're like, oh that's an old English folklore. And it's just because Charlotte Bronte was like heard a story. I bet you.
Honestly, I mean, like you know, the number one cause of, um, like birth mortality is right.
Is it is it being cold? Because
It's
England?
pregnancy.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. I thought you were referencing that silly little tweet I sent you recently about the things that women have died from in Victorian literature.
That was my favorite tweet
Too many pillows,
ever.
not enough pillows. You need the perfect amount of pillows. Okay?
I literally like forced all of my coworkers to like listen to me list all this out
It's so
as
good.
way of introduction to me. No, I just I needed to say a really moronic stat for your listening ears. I thought I was holding it inside and I was like, why do that when I have a podcast where everyone's a captive listener?
That's right. Speak that into the void and the listener's ears. My ears have
Mhm.
certainly heard it.
Mhm.
That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
Yep. So apparently she's dreaming of children every night, which is terrifying. Even if it isn't a bad omen, children are scary.
Especially
Um,
when you're Jane Eyre and your only experience of childhood is being Jane Eyre, who is the
mhm,
scariest child who ever existed. Anyway,
mhm. Truly, truly, the worst example of child, basically.
yeah, correct.
So Jane gets summoned to Mrs. Fairfax's room, and someone just shows up and's like, "Hey, just so you know, John is dead." And she's like, "My cousin John?"
It's like, which John are we talking about? Oh, the shitty one. Okay.
She's like, "This is, England. in the 1800s. Everyone's John or William. Who's which John? You got to be a little more specific.
The shitty John? Okay, narrow it down, my guy. A lot of shitty Johns out there.
Every man I've ever met is the worst. Narrow it down.
narrow. Oh, the John Reed, the shitty one that I grew up with. Okay, that does narrow it down to what we need.
Jane's like, is it a problem if I say that that's good and worth celebrating? Is that wrong?
Her reaction is so like, oh, that's a shame. Moving on.
Why'd you come here to tell me?
Yeah, like, what?
She's like, I haven't spoken to these people in like 15 years.
They
So
don't like me? I don't like them?
you could have just forwarded the newspaper to me
Right.
or something.
Just like, yeah, send me the obit clipping. It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't really need a personal person to come here and tell me all about it, but okay.
But there's another reason that the person is there.
Yeah. And then, like, before getting into it, though, this person's like, yeah, so John was in like super bad debt and went to jail and killed himself. And Jane's like, oh.
Hmm. Okay.
just, and like, this dude showed up and he's like, here's the tea.
So much tea to spill on Jane. And her reaction is ice cold. She's just like, mm-hmm. I figured as
Anyways,
much. All right, cool.
I was placing bets on how long this would take, so I'm currently winning $5 against myself.
Right, Jane's got her own Deadpool going. It's like, which of the reads is going to pop off first?
She's like, hold on, I actually have to go check something off. And it's like on her wall, it says at the very top, Mrs. Reed. And she's like, dang it, I thought she would really go first. John
I
was
mean,
right after her, neck
it's a
and neck, but
reasonable assumption that Mrs. Reed would go first, but John proved himself up to the task.
yeah, he really just had to be the victor there, I guess.
Screwing
I'm
Jane over one last time.
just imagining her with like red Sharpie, like putting arrows, doing the reversal.
Totally counts. Totally
Yeah.
fine. Legit.
I pegged it the whole time. I don't know.
Who are you to say otherwise? You don't know me.
How are you even in my room?
Get out.
So then the messenger's like, okay, Mrs. Reed had a stroke and she really wants to speak to you, Jane. And Jane's like, why?
Jane's like, right, the second bombshell. Mrs. Reed is going to die. And Jane's like, okay. And she
It's
wants
like the
to,
old goat's not dead yet.
right, damn it.
Come on, I mean her time's ticking. What is she, 40?
Well past the average life expectancy. Let's go. Come on.
I thought, watch. Okay, she was like 28 when she raised me. I mean, come on. Like,
And I'm almost dead myself because I'm 20.
I got a foot in the grave already. I already picked out my plot. It's in the moors.
Anywhere specific? No, just the Morse.
I just assumed someone would pick up my body and just throw it on in
there.
there.
Right? It's like a Mongolian sky burial, just put me out on the moors and let whatever happens happen.
I thought Viking pyre, but then I read about, what CO2 does to the atmosphere, and I was like, eh.
I gotta minimize my carbon footprint, so there will be no Viking funeral for me. Thank you.
Oh my god. So then she's like, okay, I guess I'll go. Like, this is really weird, but I mean, I didn't have anything planned this week. I guess I can go see my dying aunt.
Right, it's not like I have a job or whatever. Just gonna take some vacay. It's fine.
This is like when people expect you to drop everything for like their 17th graduation, and you're like, okay, I do. Like, I don't have enough time racked up.
Right. I've only been working at Thornfield for 3 months, which means I've got like 10 hours, you know? So, like, sorry.
I haven't even got my first paycheck yet. How am I going to get there?
Literally hasn't gotten her first paycheck yet. Incredible.
3 months in, and she's like, "Am I supposed to get paid?"
Right. This is a payment situation or I okay, yeah. I'm going to need all of that cuz I got to travel. Sorry.
Whatever, I guess. I'm sure I'll go. You're providing transportation, though, right? There,
No.
back?
I have to book my
No?
own tickets. Is there like a situation? This is like block booking at the hotel so I can. No, no. Fuck. Okay.
I have to stay in their house? Oof.
I haven't been there since I
Mm.
was a haunted Victorian vampire child. What do you?
I just shit my coffin there. I don't. It's a lot of work.
Right. What if I'm to die in transit? Whomst will take my body to the moors?
All I'm imagining is like Jane getting there and seeing that, like, what is it, the bassinet, like the play bed or whatever she was supposed to still sleep in, and she's like, I am like 5'8", my guy. I can't get in this.
I don't know. Jay didn't grow that much. I imagine she could still probably fit in that bassinet if she curled up.
Her cousin's having full size beds, and then them just pushing out the bassinet.
It's
And it's
just
like
like,
it's a cot.
here you go, Jane.
So she's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna go, but I gotta go ask Mr. Rochester for leave. So she goes and like he's playing a game with all of his guests, and she's like, hey, I need to talk to you, like at his shoulder, and he's like, what, what, what do you need? And she's like, can we talk in the hallway, please? And I'm just like, like when you're a kid and your parents are having a party and it's like way past your bedtime, but you need something and you're like sneaking out there and all the adults are just like heavily drinking and you're just like, hey, that's what I'm imagining.
Oh yeah, there's big like kid up after their bedtime energy
Hmm.
about this whole conversation.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh, and then Miss Ingram is just not pleased that she was playing with Rochester and they get interrupted for Jane.
Constantly. Miss Ingram is constantly just like, this creature is here again.
Can you get your Victorian waif, please?
Right. Could someone claim this person because they are just unattended right now? Please.
The Tumblr energy of if a Slytherin lost their Hufflepuff, please.
100% yes.
So he's like not happy she's going at all. He's like, what?
No, and I recognize this conversation because I've had it with HR people in my jobs where they're like,
Hmm.
"You want to take how much time off and why?" Oh, you just for some aunt that you don't give a shit about? Like, are you sure you don't want to stay at work?
Yeah. Or like when you request your birthday off, but you work like a terrible retail job and you're like, I just want this one day off. I've been working 70 hours a week. Please give me my birthday off. And they're like, your birthday? What are you, a child? And you're like, yeah, I'm 15. What?
Right. That literally happened to me, and they scheduled me despite my saying I will not be here on this day. Do not schedule me, and they scheduled me, and I just didn't show up. As I
Yep.
told them, they were like, called no showed, and I'm like, well, I did inform you that I would not be here, so
I
this is
had a
on you.
job where it was like, I was like a floater, but they had to ask me to fill in. And I was like, oh, hey, you haven't like reached out to me at all in a while. Like, do you still need me? And they're like, you've been on the schedule for the last 3 weekends. You haven't came in and checked your schedule. I'm like, what are you talking about right now?
No, 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 I have
They
not.
hired a new manager and she like basically was like pushing me out. And then like she
Mm.
kept scheduling me. And I was like, I can't work that weekend. You have
Well,
to
you'll need to
ask.
find somebody to cover your shift. No,
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
won't.
I don't. What? I'm a floater. What are you talking about right now? You can't schedule me every weekend. That's not how this works.
No, you ask me and I come in. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Fucking
I don't have a
retail
set
jobs.
schedule, you weirdo.
No, those are gross.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm the person that, okay, so and so went on vacation and you need coverage. Then here I am. That's why you have this position. But it's not a, oh, we're going to chronically understaff and expect you to work every weekend. That's not how this works.
There's
I
a
have other
deep
things to
sigh
do.
in my
Yep.
soul right now. Now we know why Rochester is not giving Jane the time off. And it's a
Mhm.
different reason than why my manager didn't give me time off or you time off.
We hope.
Well, yeah, I guess.
So he's like, promise me you'll come back in a week. And she's like, I literally cannot promise you anything. It depends on how long it takes her to die.
Right? She's like, we are dependent on Mrs. Reed's dying schedule, so
Jane Eyre's like looking in her pocket and she goes, I guess I could poison her, but like, I don't know if I should.
just burn some porridge. That'll kill her. That'll just knock
There
her
you go.
right out. Jane's like, welcome to my childhood. Time for revenge.
I would love the revenge plot. Also Jane being a murderer moment. That'd be pretty good for me. Ready for that fan fiction.
I will read it.
Hmm.
I will
Hmm.
read Jane Eyre vampire revenge flick every day.
Me too. Me too. So then he's like, oh, I haven't paid you yet. And she goes, no.
Nope.
So then he gives her $50 and he's like, okay, this is enough. And she's like, this is more than you owe me. You owe me like maybe $10. And I'm like, $10? What?
Money was different then.
Insane.
Money was real different. But this is very much like what does a banana cost? $10 moment of Rochester's. We're
Mhm.
just like, just take it's my whatever. I don't know. Fucking just take the money. Just take it. Whatever.
I'm imagining that this is like basically giving her $50,000. Like,
Well, if she was there for she was there for 3 weeks or 3 months, and she's supposed to get
mm,
$15 for that, $5 a month, $60 a year, which means he's almost giving her a year's salary, like in effect, that's pretty big, you know.
yeah.
I like that he's just like got it. He's just like, yeah, whatever, here you go.
He's like, oh, this was just in my wallet and I kind of
Right,
forgot
just
to spend it.
takes the lint out of his pocket as well as a year's salary, and it's like, here you go, Jay.
Yeah. This is enough, right? And Jane's just like quaking.
Jane, who has never seen this much money in her life, is like, too much, too much.
And then Jane's like, hey, before I leave, promise me that when I get back, you will get me and Adele out of your safe before your new bride enters. And he's like, what do you mean?
Excuse? What?
He's like, what do you mean, my new bride? Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm marrying Mrs. Ingram. Miss Ingram, yep.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That is totally happening. Yep.
Hmm. No problem, Jane. I will make sure that your situation is secure. Wink, wink. And Jane's like, well, what's wrong with your eye?
And then when she's not in on the joke, he's like, give me my money back.
She's like, you actually don't need this. And she's like, I mean, I give you some of it back, I guess. And he's like, no, give it all back.
She's like, no, you can't. Can't take it.
She's like, no, you owe me at least some of this. And he's like, fine, keep $20. And she goes, fine, okay, I'll be back.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I'll be back in a period of time. He's like, a week. And she's like,
Right. It's like 1 week, and she's like, I am not promising that. He's like, good. 1 week then.
Rochester, the most awkward in this conversation, and he's like, doesn't know what to do when she goes to say goodbye. And he's like, how do people say bye? And she goes,
You he is the least smooth man in history because you know what he's going for. He's
I
like,
know.
"Is that it?" And she's like, "Yes, that is how people say goodbye." He's like, "Not even handshake or like something more?" And Jane's like, "No, absolutely not. Please stop blocking the door so I can leave."
She just does not get it at all. She's like, why? What do you mean? Like, with your bros? Do you not just say bye?
Right.
Like,
You
what do you.
just say bye.
Weirdo.
You fucking weirdo.
I want to imagine Jane writing in her diary and being like, my boss is so weird. Also hot.
Super hot,
Really.
very weird.
So then he's like, okay, bye, bye then. Okay, bye. And then he like runs off.
Just leaves. Just bets out. Like, nope, we're done.
I would also commit murder to read Rochester's diary of this incident because it's like probably super emo. And he's like, I can't believe I didn't take the opportunity to tell her I loved her right then and there.
Just I like your Mr. Rochester voice. It's like this it's a little neckbeardy, which I appreciate. It's a little gamer bro, which I'm into.
Yeah, I mean, is that not Rochester?
Well,
Let's be honest.
actually, Rochester pushing up the glasses he doesn't wear.
Yeah. Lots of sniffing for some reason because every neckbeard Reddit bro seems to like have a nasal condition.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah,
really
there
gotta
you
sniff.
go.
That's how you make a point and assert dominance. Is a
Hmm.
sniff.
Truly, when we were all living in the wilderness, it was the sniff that told predators to not come near.
That's right. That's right. And Reddit is a bit of a wilderness as well, so I guess I understand.
Yep, yep.
Don't
100.
at me, Reddit bros. Don't at me.
Reddit bros, stop listening. So she goes to Gateshead, and I like that we just cut all travel out. We're like, yeah, she leaves,
We're
she's
there.
there.
We're there.
It's fine. We don't need to
Deep
know about
rules,
the.
you know. We're going to the place. We don't need to know what happens in between. We just need to know what happens there. And a shit ton happens there. So,
Yeah. She's like, I'm not going to bore you with the fact that I was staring at a wall for 2 days straight. Moving on. And then Token's like, every blade of grass.
right.
I passed
Let
on the way.
let me describe the intricate bark patterns of the great oak under which I napped for 45 minutes. How do I know it was 45 minutes? Because the trees told me when I was awakened, with their gentle rustlings and the gilded summer air on my face. Sorry, that wasn't really Tolkien-y, but
I
it's waxing
listen. I haven't
poetic.
read Token yet, so
Oh, okay. So briefest aside, uh, Tolkien's friends hated going on walks with him because this motherfucker would go on a walk for like 3 hours, move a grand total of a football field, and just like stare at trees for hours. And just be like, the roots of this noble creature.
I'm gonna
Observe
say it.
every leaf.
I'm gonna say it. OG Instagram influencer. Every time they go on a hike,
Mmm.
he
Mmm.
he knew what he was about.
Okay. He wasn't just being ponderous and pedantic and annoying as fuck. He was he was living his best influencer life before that was a thing. Got it.
It was, hey guys, like I discovered this tree first. Look at the root pattern. I've memorized its root pattern.
You
Okay,
can tell
because
a lot about a tree by its root pattern. Okay, this one is angry. It's angry at Saruman for chopping down Fangorn Forest. I know that.
please go to my Instagram.com and then you will see all of my capturings of this single tree. Each tree in this forest does have its own page created by
own page. I've created a specific and special filter for each tree to bring out its inner peace and harmony. So,
You know when people go around with the like what is it, like a slide, I guess, of the filter that goes over like Twilight?
mm-hmm.
He carries those on his walks for each
Oh,
tree.
100%. Absolutely.
The really long photo puff of smoke where you gotta sit there for a while.
Just like, nobody move for 3 hours. We haven't moved anyway. We're fine. Just do your thing.
What else were you gonna do in the olden days? Like, all you had to
Well,
do, sit, walk, meander.
if you're Tolkien, you have time to create an elaborate fantasy world in several original languages and then write thousands and thousands of pages of fan fiction about your own world that then gets published. So, you know,
The dream.
truly, truly.
If I could just take everything right here and word vomit it on a paper and then be like, here is my very complex language that I made. And I also wrote the book in it. So you're going to need this dictionary I'm going to sell separately.
We will do a combo, but it will not be a reduced price. It will be an enhanced price because it will be a special edition.
Mhm. Oh, you want me to translate this to other languages? Why? When I've already developed the pristine language of Libya.
Right. This perfect language needs no translation. If you cannot read it, that's on you.
You're telling me that you can't read what is
So that's
Spock?
Vulcan,
Yep, that's what I was going with. Vulcan has it. Wait,
Klingon.
what's Klingon? Thank you. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted.
Yep.
I wrote this only in Klingon, so obviously, if you aren't smart enough to know Klingon, I don't.
Then
I don't know what to tell you here.
I can only wish you Qapla' in that instance.
Please tell me that it's an actual word. And you didn't.
Yes, that means victory.
Good. Thank you. I'm so glad. It'd be almost better if you made it up and just really committed, but I love it.
No, we can talk about Star Trek and my love of at another time.
I slept on Star Trek too much, and now I'm terrified to get into it.
Bad, wrong. You should.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be a Star Trek person, and then I saw Chris Pine, and I was like,
I believe
yeah,
I am a Star Trek person.
yeah. Chris Pine can make me an anything person, to be honest.
I mean, that's fair. And that Star Trek isn't even that good of a Star Trek. It's an okay, fine Star Trek. Like,
Hmm.
it's good. He's the best part of it.
Oh, I
But
do like Lower Decks. That also turned me to Star Trek.
yes, because that's one of the best Star Trek shows ever.
Yeah, it's so good.
I don't know if you know, but there was a Lower Decks crossover in the most recent season of Strange New Worlds, and it was a very good.
Yeah, I saw the episode only because my dad was watching Strange New Worlds, and we got very confused.
Like, wait, what are the cartoons doing here in live action?
We thought because sometimes our Hulu just seems to not get with the program, so we thought
Mm.
it just like got broken again, and then we're like, wait a minute, what
Nope,
crossover?
this is a real crossover thing.
So good.
Strange New Worlds,
Anyways,
very good, worth it. Jane Eyre.
need to watch Jane Eyre.
Need to watch Jane Eyre. Yep, that's what we.
Need to watch period, but also Jane Eyre. We're doing so well. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So she's hanging out with Bessie, and it sounds like Mrs. Reed will not be making a full recovery. And Jane's like, "Good, I have a week time frame for you to die.
Right, you need to be dead in a week. So,
I got a hot boss to get back to." So
who is being weirdly clingy? I don't understand it because I'm dumb.
She's like, I've never had a man interested in me, and this is not going to be one. So obviously,
Right? She's like, I don't know what human interactions are like, especially romantic ones. So, mm,
seems like normal, typical boss behavior. Obviously,
I've had one boss, and this is how they've all behaved. So,
everybody's bosses just doesn't pay them for 3 months, right?
and then gets really weird when they try and leave for their aunt dying.
Pretty typical. Pretty average of your first job.
I was gonna say, like, that is 99% of the jobs that I've applied to in my life. Under the job description, it's like, can you work without being paid for 3 months? Can you never leave us for longer than 1 week? If so, this is the job for you.
If you need to take a day off, you will need to provide a hospital receipt.
Yes. We will need the
So,
photographic evidence of you being rescued with the jaws of life. So, from the local paper will do. If you could send us a link to an online article, fine.
if you can fly the helicopter through our building,
Right, just so you can quick sign a thing, that would be great.
send the paramedics after they pick you up while you're still in the ambulance. Drive past our building, have them come out, sign for you.
Yep, and then you can keep going.
Your manager will need to take a photo of you in the ambulance.
Yep, and if it looks like you're faking it, we're not going to approve that. Like, if you're conscious, we're probably not going to approve it because, like, if you're conscious, you can drive. You know, if you're awake, you can go to work. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We're not that strict. Any job is like this.
Wild to be having this conversation right after Labor Day.
Just really throwing it back to my first job right now.
My first job was as a camp counselor, so I had very specific hours and things. There wasn't a lot of need for me to come in when there wasn't need for me to come in. You know, it's like, are there children around? I need to be there. Are there not children around? Bye bye.
My first job, I was like a cashier at a hot dog and burger place. And when I went to college, they were like, "Are you sure?"
Yes, I yes, I did a newspaper delivery thing where I was like, "Hey, I can't keep doing this. I'm going to college," and the guy was like, "You sure you want to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm real
Yeah.
sure. I'm real sure, buddy. I don't want to be you in 20 years. So
Yeah.
here we go."
They were like, "This $8 isn't enough for you. Do you think you would come home and work on the weekend?" I was like, "No, I'm
We're a
out."
family. Why are you abandoning us?
Literally. Literally. Throwback to when they almost fired me for eating on the clock, even though they had me working like 10 hours. But,
Not salty about that at all.
no, never. So Jane's like, okay, or Jane's hanging out with Bessie, and Bessie's like, so tell me about your new employer. And she goes, Jane's like, well, he's ugly.
Yeah, he's the ugliest person I've ever met. Just a real, real ugly dude.
Mm-hmm.
Troll.
And Bessie's like, oh. So Jane is describing her cousins, and she immediately describes Eliza as looking like a nun. And I'm like, are they in mourning or is she a nun?
Just a nun.
Just a nun.
Just
Always in black.
a real religious person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be as neutral on that as I can be.
I'm just imagining there's like these two girls on TikTok that are twins, and one's like a partier and one became a nun.
Yeah, I mean that is exactly what we have going on here.
Yeah. Like Georgiana's like, I got blackout on a Tuesday. I dated half of the French Quarter. And, and then she's like, I went to FSU. We party every week.
Every week is spring break if you try hard enough.
She's like,
Meanwhile, Eliza's just sitting there like glaring daggers. Like, There are a lot.
I enrolled in college only for boys and parties. What else are you supposed to go to college for?
It's college is about the experience, you know.
And then Eliza's just like quaking.
Right, just like trembling with fury in her tall, tiny body.
She's got a Bible and she's just like whispering over it the entire time Georgiana's talking.
There are a lot of choice misogynist slurs that are being slung, and the nicest of them is witch. I'll say that much.
Yeah, she's not happy. And they
Mm-mm.
just are not getting along at all. And like they're so judgy to each other. And then Georgiana, as soon as she sees Jane, judgy immediately. And Jane's like, yeah, I'm not surprised. And she's like, Jane, you look poor. And Jane's like, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get paid for 3 months, so womp womp.
She's like, Georgiana, aren't you also poor? Like your brother had a gambling problem.
And is now dead.
So, and then she goes up to see Mrs. Reed and she's like basically reliving her trauma right now, which is just like, why'd you even come?
There's a fantastic petty Jane moment in this bit
Mm-hmm.
where like Mrs. Reed is trying to like pull her blankets around herself, and Jane's just like got her elbow on the blanket so that
Mm-hmm.
she can't. And I'm like, slay queen, yes.
Slay. We love to see it.
Just if, because Jane is like, I went in there with no ill feelings. I just wanted to make amends. And she's like, also, I wouldn't let that bitch have her blanket. So,
I turned the AC down to 60. I opened all the windows. Um, and especially when it started raining, I just kind of grabbed a funnel and I threw it on the floor.
ooh, it's so damp and cold in here. How did that happen?
So weird.
These
And
old
then my
houses, they're drafty.
I've been watching a lot of mockumentaries, mostly What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
Um, so I'm just imagining her going into her little interview moment. She goes, yeah, I thought it would just be funny. I grabbed the hose from outside and I just like wet the entire floor. And
And
I
she
told
like has
everyone she peed.
she has no idea what's going on. She can't stop me.
She's like, this is called healing.
This I love this journey for me. My journey of healing.
The two sisters in their interview and they go, we know Jane totally did throw all the water on the floor. However, it is her right.
Right. We don't really care. So,
We're just kind of waiting for her to die so we can never speak to each other again.
right, we are on the death watch right now, and that is the only thing that matters. So,
I also keep opening all the windows. I don't know who's closing them. And then it's like flashes
Georgiana's
to
like,
Eliza.
I'm always trying to close these windows to just heat her up,
Georgiana's like, I don't want her to die. And Eliza's like, I'd love if she was dead.
Really would love if she was dead.
I
I
got a
like the.
nunnery calling my name.
Oh my god, these two. Fucking two.
And then while her Mrs. Reed is not lucid, we find out that John threatened to kill his mom. She wouldn't
Yup.
give him money.
Hmm.
Wild.
Things were
Insane.
going well in the Reed household. There's a reason Mrs. Reed had a stroke. Things
Yeah.
have been stress in the Reed
Yeah.
household.
Yeah.
Honestly, Jane is well out of it, or was well out of it, I will say.
Yeah. Definitely better for her sanity to be not involved at all.
Which is saying something when her other option is Mr. Rochester,
Yep. Indeed it is.
who's a whole different kind of terrible, but okay.
So while passing time there, she decides to start drawing again because she's like, I haven't done this in weeks. But then, like, so she starts drawing Rochester, and then Eliza and Georgiana are like, Who? Who is that handsome man? Or no, they say, Who is that ugly man?
Yes. Ah,
And they're like, Are you a really bad artist, or does he just kind of look like a toad?
Right, is he just real fugly or are you real bad or both? Like, what is the deal here?
And Jane's like, no, this is pretty accurate. And they're like, oh,
Oh,
yikes.
okay.
Okay. So Georgiana and Jane start getting along, and Georgiana is like spending no time with her sick mom. She's just laying about the house. She's like, I'm so,
Lounging. Yeah.
yeah, lots of lounging. She's like, I'm so bored. And Eliza's like, your mom is literally dying. And Georgiana's like, and?
You're right. Georgiana's like, we are in a self care moment right now. So if you could not, I would greatly appreciate
If she could just die so I could stop wearing these black mourning clothes. I'm kind
it.
of tired of them. I am a pastel girl.
Right.
These don't complement my skin tone.
You look fine in them, not me.
Sure, I guess you look okay, but we would all look better in a pink or a light blue, maybe a green.
Eliza's like, colors are Satan's tool.
Brocklehurst is just like, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking yeah. Someone, she gets it.
She gets it. So Eliza starts roasting Georgiana for being vain and complaining of boredom.
So hard. But just like the most puritanical roasts where you're like, I mean, yeah, that is a sick burn, but also like you suck. So,
So,
mm. Like, did you hear the
whatever.
words that came out of your mouth? No. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So sick burn on both of you. Great. Okay.
Yeah. She's like, let God into your heart. And Jane's like, ew,
Why?
why? My heart's
I'm a
pretty.
vampire. Don't you remember? This is
Yeah, my heart's
not my scene.
pretty sealed off, but okay.
Right. There's like a Rochester in there already. So.
Jane's like, if you can find it, ha! So, yeah, they promise to never see each other again if their mom dies, which is just like real brutal.
Yup.
Like, I love my siblings. I couldn't imagine being like, all right, sayonara, never seeing you again.
I just love how the Reeds are supposed to be this like respectable Victorian family, and Charlotte Bronte's
Mhm.
like, let me tear them apart and show everyone how terrible families are. Meanwhile,
Literally.
Charlotte Bronte's sisters are reading this and are like, what?
They're like, when's the last time anybody checked in with Charlotte?
Excuse? I don't um what?
Hey, Charlotte, we just read your book. Are you
You're
coming to like Thanksgiving dinner or no? Oh,
Charlotte leaves them on red.
hey, Charlotte, our parents really miss you. We'd love if you came for Christmas. Love your loving siblings. And they're like, Charlotte's just like, ew.
Yeah. No.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
So finally, Mrs. Reed squeezes out that someone named John Eyre came 3 years ago and wanted to adopt Jane and leave her everything. And Jane's like, what?
What? Huh?
And she's like, I kept it from you because I hate you.
Right, right. Just like I was gonna tell you, but then I remembered how I hate you, so I
It's just
didn't.
like you were mean to me once.
Right, you were a weird kid who like talked back to me and looked at me funny, so I decided fuck you.
Yeah, I decided you don't get to know.
Mm-mm.
So
But now I'm dying and I feel bad, so here you go.
there, a gift. And Jane's like, I guess I forgive you. And I'm like, weirdo. You don't have to forgive dying people. That's the fun part.
I I think that that is a weapon in and of itself. Like, I think based on that conversation, Jane is doing the I'm going to take the high road because I know it will fuck with you right now.
Fair. However, I've never not been one to hold a grudge. So I would be like, ew, okay, die then.
Right, bye.
I wouldn't have gone though, to be so real.
Mm. No, I mean I don't think Jane goes from maliciousness, but I do think that she has that petty streak in her where at the end she's like, you know what would hurt this lady just a little bit more if I were like so much better than her.
Yeah. She's like, I do see how you struggled. And
Right.
although I've never struggled in my entire life,
Mm.
I do understand that it can be difficult for those that do. So,
Mrs. Reed is like, love me or hate me, and Jane's like, oh, I love you, it's fine. She's like, ah.
and then like on that, Mrs. Reed dies, and I'm like,
Just
what a power move.
yep. Just like I dropped this knowledge bomb, I'm out.
I'm done. All
Bye.
good. Deuces.
Fucking deuces. Choom.
Mic drop.
Yep.
So chapter 22, um, she's given 1 week's leave, but she's been gone a month. So
She's been gone a fucking month. You know that Rochester is just sitting there every day on his calendar, like, it's been 1 week. It's been 2 weeks.
he's
It's
just like,
been 3 weeks.
those like signs where it's like day since last accident.
Yes.
He's like day since Jane left, like real
Days
big.
days since last Jane interaction. Scraps it off, adds another one. Furious.
Mrs. Fairfax is like, are we gonna like take this now when Jane comes back? And he goes, no. It
Mm-mm.
stays up forever now.
Yep. She's gonna remember what she did. To me,
To
specifically.
me.
This was a personal attack against me. And I
Mrs.
won't stand for
Fairfax's
it.
letters are like, yeah, he's being kind of weird. Seems like he misses you or something. I don't know why.
She hires a like Daguerre type photographer to come in and like take a photo of it. And she's like, I just wanted you to know, but this happened. So I don't know, like if you want to come back, that'd be cool, just so he can stop being weird.
Yeah. Mrs. Fairfax is like, I tried to put a sketch in and then it looked really bad, so I did
Yeah.
pay $1,000 for this photographer to come in.
Right. Jane gets it, throws it in the waste paper basket, just like, whatever. Why is he so weird? This is workplace harassment.
She's like, but he's still so hot though. Weird.
So weird. So weird.
He's just like my weird. I don't know.
Jane.
So, Jane says that if Eliza, oh, sorry. Yeah, Jane says that if Eliza, no, sorry, if her and Georgiana actually had to live together, she would make Georgiana do chores or something so that maybe she would stop complaining for a second.
I like that Jane has a whole plan to fix these people, and with Georgiana, it's just like, I don't know, discipline.
Maybe like not growing up spoiled would have helped. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried that? Like, that's what I did, and it worked out for me,
Yeah. I just only got one meal a day. The rest
And
go to Satan.
sometimes it was burned, so I didn't have that.
Yes. And I turned out fine. And, we're like, that's child abuse, but okay.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you think that. That's fine.
It's like when your like older relatives tell you like scary stories of when they were growing up and you're like, that's abuse. Okay.
Right. And they say, and I turned out fine, and you can just see the twitch at the corner of their eye, and you're like, yep, you sure
Mhm.
did.
Mhm.
Totally normal. Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong in the slightest.
No. Nope. It's probably a different reason that your children don't talk to you. Probably not
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, probably not related at all.
Not related to that.
So Eliza's like, I'm going to a nunnery. And Jane's like, yeah. Thanks for announcing it, but I did already know.
Can I take a moment to read this exchange, because it is
Yeah.
literally my favorite exchange in the whole book.
Please, please.
So, Jane is talking about Eliza, and she says, "When we parted, Eliza said, 'Goodbye, cousin Jane Eyre. I wish you well. You have some sense.' I then returned, 'You are not without sense, cousin Eliza, but what you have, I suppose, in another year will be walled up alive in a French convent. However, it's not my business, and it suits you. I don't much care.'" Just like, oh my god.
So
Jane's like,
brutal.
so fucking brutal. Just like, yeah, you have sense too, but like, not gonna in a bit, and honestly, you mean nothing to me, so have fun.
Yeah. Deuces.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh. And then Jane basically says that Georgiana also goes on her way. She goes, in case you care,
Which I don't.
she d-
But
which I
right, Jane's
don't.
like, I don't care, but if you do,
Yeah. She goes, Georgiana does marry a quote, worn out man of fashion, unquote.
she calls it a good match, so I assume he's got money.
So that basically means she married an old man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which we love.
we
I
love that for
mean,
Georgiana.
it's what she wanted. She was like, she was basically the sugar baby that she's like, if I marry him when he's 80, he'll die soon. So
Exactly. She's like, and if I have to sex him to death, I will. Okay, here we go.
I just want her to live her who is it in the Adams family, the blonde lady?
I
And
don't know the Adams family much.
I know she goes by Black Widow because she kills all her husbands. Like she marries
Mm.
rich, weird guys and then kills them. That's
I've been,
Georgiana.
yeah. Side note, I've been listening to a podcast about serial killers, and they've done no less than 2 or 3 about women who keep murdering their husbands. And they're all from
Ooh.
like the 1910s, and it's just like the shit you could get away with back then. You just be like, I would like a husband, and random dudes would show up, and you'd be like, do you have your cash deposit as requested? And they'd be like, yes, I do. And then you'd go to the bank, and they'd cash it, and then they'd disappear. And then more dudes would show up, and the town would just be like, boy, sure are a lot of old dudes going to that farm over there. That's weird.
Weird how they keep dying. I don't know how that happened.
Not dying, just disappearing. Yeah, they probably just lost interest and moved on. You know,
But she does keep a really well turned farm. So
the pigs,
weird.
her pigs are so well fed, very chunky boys.
Hmm. They always place first at the fair. I mean, I don't see her having any stable hands. I don't know who does all the work, but
It
you
is
know, she
very weird they
wins.
keep biting the judges, but whatever. That's pigs
Whatever.
for you.
As pigs do.
What pig amongst us hasn't taken a bite of a judge's hand from time to time?
Who's amongst us?
If we don't get at least 2 or 3 whomst amongst us in an episode, I call it a failed episode.
Truly, then we just have to start over. I throw the recording in the garbage and we
Right?
try
Just like,
again.
this piece of garbage.
Because whomst amongst us?
Thank you.
Yep. So Jane writes to Mrs. Fairfax and she's like, how are things? And she's like, okay, well, Rochester went to London for 3 weeks, but he should be back at any moment. And Jane's like, why is my heart breaking? My heart?
Jane's like, what are these emotions I'm feeling? Why am I feeling feelings? I don't like it.
It's the first time in my life I feel something other than neutrality, and I don't know what to do about it.
To be fair, Jane has also felt rage and despair.
The only 3 emotions you need,
Right,
truly.
neutrality, rage, and despair.
Uh-huh.
What more does a person need to function in life?
Honestly, that's it. That's basically all. That's a very well rounded individual, if I do say so myself.
Yep. Just a real pleasure to meet, I'm sure.
So Jane's like, yeah, I didn't let anybody know the exact day I was coming back. No reason. I
Right,
just, for the plot.
it just happened that way. Don't worry about it.
She's like, I'm not a big planner, so.
She said, shoving her gigantic planner book under a cushion.
said, throwing her planner out into the garbage to pick up later.
Right. Hucking it Muppet style when she sees someone observing her. Just like, I wasn't planning. No.
Me? No, never.
Not a nerd who plans shit.
And not I.
Mm-mm.
And then she's like, "Why am I so excited to return to Rochester? That's weird. It's an emotion I haven't felt before."
I do like that she's like, yeah, going back to Gateshead sucked. Going back to Lowood also sucked. So, like, I don't know, maybe Thornfield will be different. And then it is, and she's like, oh no.
What?
What? Oh no.
These are emotions I was not supposed to feel. I did not plan for this.
No. I mean, I didn't. I don't plan any emotions, obviously. But if
Obviously.
I if I were to have planned emotions, it would not have been these.
She's like in her journal, she's like, scribble, scribble, scribble. Excited? Question mark?
Question? Hmm. What
Maybe?
is this? What is this warm, bubbly feeling? I don't. Hmm. Am I ill?
Check your temperature. Like,
Right? Do I need a doctor?
should I stop
No,
by the
that's just
doctor on the way?
that's excitement, Jade. She's like, oh no. Oh no, 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 not for me. No, no, are you sure it's not consumption?
I've heard butterflies in the tummy is the main side effect of consumption.
Right, like is this death? Cuz if so, I hate it. Wink. Wink.
Wink.
Nudge, nudge.
I love it.
More please.
So then Jane's just like walking, and then she sees Rochester and just like freezes.
Yeah.
And he's so excited. He's like, "Jane, how have you been? Oh, it's just like you not to call a carriage or tell anyone you're going to be home and walk." And then she says something, and he's like, "That's so Janian of you." And Jane's like, "What?"
Right? He's like completely lost it. He is off the deep end. You know that he's had like a sock puppet that he's been talking to. Like, oh yes, Jane, that's so witty, Jane. Oh, Jane, 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 Jane.
I'm just imagining he like runs up to her and like grabs her face and does like a side to side thing. And then he's like, "Okay, you're real. I've been imagining you for like 4 days."
Right? Just like smush face. Like, is yes, okay. You're not a ghost. You're still a vampire, but you're not a ghost.
Yeah, he like compares her to like Faye in the woods again, which I love.
Always, always and eternal.
He's like, "Oh, now that you're here, by the way, I did get a carriage for the future Mrs. Reed. Do you want to see it? Do you love it? Do you want to like tell me what you think about it?" Jane's like, mm.
And you know that this carriage, like in a modern day, it would be like some gilded Hummer that's got like Jane written on it in like elaborate gold
"Yep."
script, and she'd be like, "Who is this for?" It's like the
Oh,
future Mrs. Rochester, and she'd be like, "You met another Jane, you son of a bitch."
just, all I want to imagine with the Hummer is that he also has like shirts on that's like his king, her
Yes,
queen,
yeah.
and he's like, "I got us matching shirts," and Jane's like, "Why?"
Why would you do that? No
Uh,
woman would wear this.
she's like, "I'm not. I can't be seen in public with that. I'm sorry."
This is a hard pass from me. Sorry.
And then she's like, "Just so you know, you're my home," and he's like, "What?"
Right there, it's absolutely that camera shot where like it focuses in while doing that weird spin thing, and he's just like, what?
Yeah, and she says it so casual, like she's like, "Yeah, I never felt like home before, but you feel like home." And he's like, "Oh."
Huh? Huh?
And she just continues walking with all of her bags, and he's just like frozen in place, like tears sliding down his cheeks.
She's just completely fucking oblivious, just like,
Yeah.
okay, okay, good talk, bye,
Bye.
good to be
He's like,
back.
she's like, "That's something you say to all your friends," and he's like, "I think I'm in love." Oh my god.
Oh my
He's
god.
like, "I'm already getting her name tattooed on my chest. I'm
Yes.
booking the appointment."
I'm calling my tattoo guy right now.
That's not a bad like simple, for to start a relationship. Everybody gets their future spouse's name tattooed right on their chest.
Just
Um,
carved over the heart.
yeah, don't look at what else was there before. I know there was other things there, but like that doesn't matter anymore.
No, don't look at that. It's this one that matters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, so she's like talking about her time. She's like, I noticed that he wasn't making any journeys to Ingram Park. And she's like starting to get really hopeful. And then he's also calling her around all the time. She's like, oh, what could
Mm-hmm.
this mean? But that is all we have for today. Alex, where can the people of the internet find you and all the things you're doing?
People of the internet can find me on the internet on the cursed Twitter app at
Hmm.
Mightiest Finn, and on the Blue Sky app, which is slightly less cursed, at Mighty Finn. Otherwise, I stream TTRPGs and write games, and you can find all that information when I post about it. I haven't been posting recently because, I don't know, life's tough. But I'm trying. I'm trying to post more, so there'll be things. There'll be cute dogs. That's what I got.
And we'll see you right here next week with some really good chapters that I'm very excited about.
So good.
So good. See you all in the next chapter. Bye.
Bye!